every thought can be a reminder that you are a thought created in the one mind of God. Unique, wonderful, special. No one else like you. So as you claim it, take a breath. Allow that breath to flow all the way down, the energy of that breath, all the way down into your feet, down into Mother Earth, grounding yourself in the awareness of who you truly are, as you truly are. May your mind be still, your heart wide open, your spirit and vision clear so that you may know and see only that. So the journey of every breath can lead you home in this moment. And as you breathe, as you come back into the awareness of this physical space, this physical body, I invite you to do so refreshed and alive and alert in the remembrance of that which you are, I am. So it is.
Of the grind we all suffer and stumble time to time in your difficulties. There's a story to be told. It's one of greatness, overcoming lies you've been sold. Listen, people, I'm listening myself. There's a light in the corner. Yeah, there's water in the well when it seems like the answer is nowhere around. Rest assured, there's a blessing to be found. Rest assured. Rest assured, all things are possible, changes are doable, problems are workable. Just keep pressing on. Rest assured, oh, rest assured, grace is your birthright, spirit is your love light, and the glory of God is within. Rest assured, certainly I believe. I will see glory, glory, glory. Salvation will come in my darkest hour. Rest assured, I will know I'm the one who's been given this choice to mold and shape my present day. Yeah, I believe God will change my course. impossible. Changes are doable. Problems are workable. Just keep pressing on until you rest assured. Let yourself rest, oh rest, oh rest. 'Cause grace is your birthright. Spirit is your love light. All the glory of God is within. Rest assured, yeah, let yourself rest. Rest in the arms of love. Rest assured. Rest, rest now, people. Rest assured.
Thank you, Rachel. Just kind of marveling. It's a little bit loud, I think, maybe. I was marvel. I don't know why. It's always happens, but I still continue to marvel at how we didn't communicate about anything really about the music, and you choose the perfect song. That's just how Spirit works, really, isn't it? Rest assured. I'll talk about. I haven't really thought about that very much. That phrase, rest assured. But it is what I want to talk a little bit about today, is that idea of rest. Resting in Spirit. But before I do that, I just want to say, I started this 3-week series a couple of weeks ago where I started talking about the river and using the river for a metaphor for life, abundant life, God's life, the life that is living us, and how that is constant, unfailing, unchanging. It is what we are, it's who we are. Then I talked about how, metaphor for life, that we are living this life experience, and it is a river, and it does change, and we have different experiences, and sometimes it's easy, and sometimes it's not, sometimes it's challenging. Sometimes it's very calm, and sometimes it's like rapids. And the last week I talked more about how we can open up the floodgate. How do we open up the floodgate and allow Spirit to flow through us with meditation and prayer and connection and some different things I suggested. So this week my title is Harness the Power. And what I want you to know about me is that I'm not really good at doing titles. I've never really done very well at that, and certainly not in advance. So, but I contemplated that. What does that mean? How would I talk about harnessing this power? Harnessing this power of God, the divine that is flowing through us, in us, as us. How do we use it? That was what was on my mind. How do we use it? And as I thought about it and as I meditated on it, what I got was, it's not about how you use it, it's about how you allow it to use you. And not about harnessing the power so much as it is about getting out of the way and letting that power use us. And so I have the 5-step plan. Don't you love it when somebody has a 5-step plan to prosperity or whatever it is? But it sort of came to me in that way. It's like, okay, if my intention is to get out of the way and let Spirit, let God, let Source, let that river run as me. How does that work? And the first thing that came to me was be still and know. Just be still. Rest. Rest in the assurance. I was listening to a podcast this week where I don't remember her name. I wish I had written it down. I apologize for that. But she's a minister. She lives in Atlanta. She's done a lot of work about grind culture and how we're caught up in this culture of doing and achieving and gathering, that we're caught up so often in this violent culture that doesn't allow us the time to stop and rest. Or somehow we feel guilty if we rest. But she talks about how important rest is, because it is in the stillness where we can allow that Spirit to speak. We can allow the inspiration. We can allow God, Spirit, Source, to make itself known to us and to make us known to us. It's only in that place of stillness. Be still and know I am. And I would say my interpretation of that is be still and know the I am. Be still and know that you are the I am. So it was revealed to Moses on the Mount Horeb in the story there, where he's in this place of meditation metaphysically. And he hears the voice, and the voice reveals itself to him, I am that I am. Well, it's not an external voice. It's not a voice out there that revealed it to him metaphysically. It's that within us, the knowing. Charles Fillmore talks about that burning bush is that gut wisdom knowing. And that arises for us when we're willing to be still and know. So be still. For me, it's hard for me to stop sometimes, to stop the busyness, to stop the activity. Sometimes I think that's how I think I get my worth, is by doing. But that's my lesson to learn, right? To stop, be still. And then what came to me then was, okay, I'm stopping, I'm being still, I'm listening. And what happens, maybe it's just me, but sometimes what happens in the stillness is I do hear that voice, but there are lots of other voices going on around me. Anybody else have that experience? Lots of other voices happening in my head when I'm trying to be still and quiet. Most of them saying things I don't really want to hear, right? So the other piece of that for me becomes the willingness to release, to let go. To let go and let God. And I know this is, sometimes it's challenging to release, to let go. Because I've said this before, and I'll probably say it many more times, that we create the identity out of these things that we learn about ourselves and the world, and we create this idea of who we are. And what we recognize is when we are still and we're quiet and we listen and we hear, you are the I am that I am, living myself in and through and as that which you are. is that opportunity. That is who we are, and all that other stuff is who we're not. The limitations, the ideas that we're not enough, the ideas that something's wrong with us, whatever that is. And we get caught up in our experiences as well. That we identify with our past and our experiences. And I know that many of us have had difficult experiences and continue to have difficult experiences. And sometimes it's hard to release ourselves from that. I don't know what you've experienced. I don't know the pain that you've had, maybe the abuses that you have experienced. I don't know. And I know it takes time sometimes to release those things, to free ourselves from those things. I want to share something with you that I was reminded of as I was meditating this week. It's a writing that the author, I've tried to find the attribution for it. Some people say it was Ernest Holmes, founder of religious science. Others say Jennifer Eckhart Bernal, and still others say Reverend Sapphire Rose wrote it. But I just want you to hear this because it's so powerful. And I want you, as you hear it, as you're listening to this, just be aware of what's coming up for you. Just be aware of what feelings might be stimulated, what thoughts might arise for you. Just be with yourself as you listen to this reading. She let go. Without a thought or word, she let go. She let go of the fear. She let go of the judgments. She let go of the confluence of opinions swarming around her head. She let go of the committee of indecision within her. Anybody else have that? She let go of all the right reasons. Wholly and completely, without hesitation or worry, she just let go. She didn't ask anyone for advice. She didn't read a book on how to let go. She didn't search the scriptures. She just let go. She let go of all the memories that held her back. She let go of all the anxiety that kept her from moving forward. She let go of the planning and all the calculations about how to do it just right. She didn't promise to let go. She didn't journal about it. She didn't write the projected date in her daytimer. She made no public announcement and put no ad in the paper. She didn't check the weather report or read her daily horoscope. She just let go. She didn't analyze whether she should let go. She didn't call her friends to discuss the matter. She didn't do a 5-step spiritual mind treatment. She didn't call a prayer line. She didn't utter one word. She just let go. No one was around when it happened. There was no applause or congratulations. No one thanked her or praised her. No one noticed a thing. Like a leaf from a tree, she just let go. There was no effort. There was no struggle. It wasn't good and it wasn't bad. It was what it was. And it's just that. In the space of letting go, she let it all be. A small smile came over her face, a light breeze blew through her, and the sun and the moon shone forevermore. She just let go. Now some of you are saying, yeah, David, that sounds good, doesn't it? You're such a Pollyanna, right? Thinking you can just let it go. And I know it sounds that way, and I don't mean it to sound that way. I know it's not always easy to just let go. But what I do know about that as well is that it takes a willingness to let go. First of all, it takes willingness to say, I'm willing. And in 12 steps, sometimes it goes to, I'm willing to be willing. I may not quite be willing, but I'm willing to be willing. And even that is an opening. Even that is an opening to letting go, to freeing yourself from the pain, from the fear, from the worry, from the past. And yeah, it might take help. You might need help. I want you to do this with me, if you will. I want you to put your fist in a ball, and tighten as much as you possibly can, and feel the tension. Feel the tension in that. And then just say, I let go and I let God, and let it go. And just imagine, what are you holding on to so tightly? Again, I don't know. I don't know. But I do know, too, that there are people that can help. So let go. Let God. When you're willing and when you're ready. What I know about that, too, is that no one else can do it for us. No one. They can help, but they can't do it for us. We have to free ourselves. You talked about salvation in that song. That is salvation because we get to save ourselves. When we begin to truly recognize who we are. That is the metaphysical meaning of salvation. When we accept the Christ as we are, the I am that I am, we begin our process of salvation. Redemption. Yeah? So be still. Let go. And then this idea that I know we don't all like, it's this idea of surrender. Yeah. Surrendering our will, our way, our idea of what should happen, how it should happen, our timeline. Anybody else get into that but me, right? I know how I want it to be. Yeah? But what I've learned, and I'm still learning, is that my way is not always the best way. I want you all to remind me of that as we go down this road together. Your way, David, is not always the best way. But it's like Jesus said in the Garden of Gethsemane, I don't want to do this. However, not my will, but thy will be done. And what I also have learned and what I understand about thy will, the greater will, I believe, is simply for us to wake up to who we truly are. I believe, and we talk about the will of God, the divine will. That is the will, that we remember who we are and live it as the great teachers have exampled for us, like Jesus and Buddha and many others. Claim it, live it. Surrender and let go. But what are we surrendering to? What are we giving up? Are we giving up anything really that matters? Anything that's real? I don't think we're giving up anything. We're giving it over to our higher knowing, our higher self, our I am, our Christ nature, our Buddha nature, the very truth of us. So it's not giving up, it's not giving in. It's like, okay, I'm willing to know who I am and give it over to something higher. Turn it over. And sometimes that's a struggle. I get it. I live it. It's a struggle sometimes to let go and say, no, not my will, thy will, higher will. And then the fourth thing that came to me was about faith. You know, the scripture, Jesus says, don't worry. You know, consider the birds of the air. Consider the lilies of the field. Birds don't worry. They don't store up food. They just fly and they do their thing. Consider the lilies, how they grow. They don't toil. They don't spin. They don't worry about stuff. Why do we worry? I don't know. Why do I worry? You know, I'm living over close to White Rock Lake, and I've been walking around the lake over there every day since I've been here the last 2 weeks. And one day, I was walking toward the lake, and I looked up, and I saw this flock of birds. And it was as if there was a cloud of birds. And it was as if they were just floating. It wasn't as if they were flapping their wings, trying to get somewhere, trying to stay afloat, trying not to fall to the earth. It was as if they were this beautiful black cloud of birds. They were just moving and flowing, and it's almost as if they were stationary. I had never seen that before. I had only seen birds flying somewhere, going somewhere, trying to, behind each other and that kind of thing. They're always moving. And that was the first time I have a new phone, so I was trying to take a video of it, but I ended up taking a video of my foot. So I did not, was not able to get the video, unfortunately. But maybe that was just the way it was, what was supposed to be. I was supposed to have that experience. And just to notice, can I be like that? Can I trust, can I have the faith that God, source, universe is going to take care of me? That I don't have to worry. I don't have to try so hard. Can I just be like the birds of the air and just trust? And be like the lilies. I'm going to change that up a little bit, because as I'm walking around, one of the things I've missed about Dallas is all the wonderful live oak trees. I love the live oak trees. In this neighborhood I'm in, I walk down the street and there's this, I don't know how old this tree is. I bet the trunk is at least that big around. And it's just this magnificent tree. I haven't gone up and actually hugged it yet, but I have marveled at it. I walked by it and I was just like, just in awe of this tree. So what about if I could just consider not the lilies, but the tree? How it grows, how it's grounded. Dee sent me a video the other day of Eckhart Tolle talking about trees. And he was like, the tree is just going, the tree is just going, if the tree made a sound, it would be like the primordial sound of the universe, right? Just there, doing its thing. Not worrying if it's, not saying, I wish I was a spruce, or wish I was an oak tree. I wish I wasn't growing right here in this spot. I wish I was closer to the lake. Trees don't do that, right? But we do, don't we? But can I live in a place of just trusting, having faith? Eric Butterworth defines faith as a consciousness centered in the divine flow. A consciousness centered in the divine flow. So can I just be centered in that, trusting, knowing? Really, what am I afraid of? Is that life going to lead me somewhere that I don't really want to go? It's like, another thing that Eckhart Tolle said too is, life is not here to make you happy. Life's here to wake you up, to make you conscious. Sometimes that's hard to remember when things aren't going my way, right? And then lastly, what I recognize is the importance of presence. Being present in the now moment. I think Eckhart Tolle would call it the power of now. But being present for what is in the moment. And what I mean by that too is, first of all, being present with yourself. What's moving in me? What am I feeling? What am I thinking? What am I experiencing? Where am I holding on to things that are limiting my experience of my divine self? What do I need? What are my values? What am I experiencing? And making conscious choices about that to feed yourself, to meet your needs, to take care of yourself. But also our willingness then to put those things into practice. To be present enough to say, I am worthy enough, and I love myself enough to take time to be still and know. And I love myself enough to be willing, to at least be willing to free myself from whatever's holding me back. And I love myself enough to be willing to surrender to the higher will, the knowing of the divine, that there is a higher mind than mine. And to trust that even though it doesn't look like the way I think it should look, that I'm being supported. That there is that which only seeks my highest good. And it is that knowing that knows exactly what I need. It may not be exactly what I want, but there is a knowing that knows what I need for my journey. Can we trust that? Be lifted by that. Be grounded in that. And be present for that. And I think all of those things are ways that we can not harness that power, but allow that power to have its life as us. To know I am, and to be in the flow of that. Because ultimately, I believe that that's our greatest desire, isn't it? To know who we are and to be in the flow of that, to awaken to that, and to be able to share that. I think that's our greatest, deepest soul desire. And so, I honor that, and I want to say again, I'm not a Pollyanna. I do understand that some of the things I'm talking about are not just, oh, let's just go do that. I get that. It takes intention and commitment and willingness and work sometimes. But that's part of our journey, our spiritual journey and our human journey. So, I think that's it. Thank you for this morning.
We've arrived at this place so many times before. choice is yours and mine. Whether to go on fighting or leave the past behind. Where do we go from here this time? Where do we go from here? Shall we soar and leave behind the fear? Oh, yeah. Where do we go from here this time? Where do we go from here? Shall we soar and leave behind the fear? Where do we go from here? So take my hand and I'll follow you to the land of no tomorrows and no sorrows. 'Cause if we believe in equanimity, then the dark side will simply cease to be. Where do we go from here this time? Where do we go from here? Shall we soar and leave behind our fears? Where do we go? Where do we go from here this time? Where do we go from here? Shall we soar and leave behind our fears? Where do we go from here this time? Will we choose to love? Will the force of us be stronger than fear? Where do we go? Oh, I wanna go straight to love. Where do we go from here this time? Where do we go from here? Shall we soar and leave behind the fear? Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here?
Thank you, Rachel, for that beautiful music, and thank you, Reverend Howard, for that wonderful message. How lucky we are. Let's give them both another round of applause, please. We at Unity have core values, and would you please read them with me? I'll get it out. Thank you. Core values: unconditional love, conscious spiritual transformation, spirit of service, acceptance and inclusion, expression of divine light. And if you would like to connect with us, you can go to our web page and there is a connect button, and we'd love to hear from you. If you would like to ask for a prayer, we are certainly happy to pray with you, but there are different ways that you can connect with us, and we'd love to hear from you. And so now let's all stand and sing the peace song together.
Yes, there is peace on earth. I know it begins in me. Yes, there is peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God, our Creator, united all are we. Now we walk with each other in
another prayer of protection together. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
May the light of God surround you. May the love of God enfold you. May the power of God protect you.